Story 1. Golf. As a master, I would be making great money outdoors in good weather, and I can play pretty much whenever I want as long as I live. At 80, I can be on the seniors tour. Story 2. I would love to be a professional at guitar so I could busk or sing campfire songs when camping. I think mastering a musical instrument is very cool. Story 3. All things construction, woodworking, electrical, and plumbing. Then I can afford a cheaper house and fix it up myself. Story 4. Programming. I always wanted to make my own game but could never grasp programming, no matter how I tried, beyond making a super simplistic text game. Story 5. Understanding what my wife means and not just what she says. I know, living in a fantasy world here. Story 6. The skill to master any skill instantly, of course. And if it is literally any skill, real or fictional, then I will become overpowered pretty quickly. I would probably learn how to optimize health first, including regeneration or slowing or reversing aging. It would take time to learn all the skills, after all. I would move from culture to culture and pick up as many things as I could. Story 7. The art of seduction involves attracting a wealthy partner and enjoying financial support while spending the day playing video games. Story 8. Meditation. It is the ultimate skill to master every struggle with emotions or purpose. If you are proficient in meditation, fear, anxiety, and depression will never stop you again. Story 9. Coding and computer programming are important skills. I really want to work in cybersecurity, as that will help me with my future career. I am planning to go to college for it. Story 10. Charisma. I am so close to finishing it, and I know exactly how I can use it. It will open an entire gateway of opportunities for me. So, that or coding, just so I do not need to study for 3 years. Story 11. Since I was a child, I wanted my superpower to be the knowledge of all languages. My brain does not allow for that, though. People who speak many languages impress me greatly. Story 12. Speaking English is considered compulsory for an educated person in India. Story 13. Both programming and marketing are valuable skills that can make you wealthy easily, whether you work independently or for a company. Additionally, I would likely use marketing for effective self-promotion of my own products. Story 14. Therapy is the ability to help a person heal mentally. Any person. It would allow me to help many people and be a future-proof career, as no artificial intelligence could connect on the same emotional level. Story 15. Surely predicting the future with absolute certainty is impossible. Otherwise, I could become a trillionaire by placing bets on unlikely events. Imagine going into a bookmaker and placing a 10,000-pound bet that Sinner will win Wimbledon, and while he is upstairs in the royal lounge speaking to the royal family, Prince George will ask him to sign a ball before Princess Charlotte and will pass the ball to him with his left hand. This would happen before the match. You would probably get odds of 1:100,000 and laugh all the way to ordering your new private jet to fly to the boatyard where they are building your new yacht. There, you could watch your Formula One team sponsored by your Premier League team. Then, you would be comfortable and able to plan how to alleviate poverty worldwide, ban the use of American English on every computer outside the continental United States, and influence a political party through donations to implement a proper T-alarm system. Story 16. Programming offers endless possibilities. I could write programs to help me master other skills more efficiently. Story 17. To influence positively by breaking through the minds, defenses, and denials of the delusional and manipulative with ease. Story 18. Learning new languages is important. When I visit other countries, I can be respectful by speaking their languages instead of hoping they understand mine. Story 19. If it can be metaskills, the ability to learn any written or spoken language in a 6-month time span. If not, being proficient enough in mathematics to understand and contribute to the field of theoretical physics. Story 20. Making money. Yeah, money doesn't buy happiness and all that nonsense, but money lets you buy things that make you happy, do things that make you happy, helps you make those around you happy, and when you have enough of it, it just becomes power coupons. Story 21. Would communication be considered a skill? So then yes. I would love to be able to piece together a coherent thought and have my point come across as clearly as possible without confusion. Even then, I feel like it depends on the person listening. Still, I would love to communicate better. Story 22. Turntablism. I want to learn to scratch so badly it hurts, but I am as rhythmically challenged as one can get. I will never have it. Story 23. To win people over by words, I would master the skill of mastering skills so I can master any skill. Do you understand? Story 24. Flying any type of aircraft at any time and the ability to keep it running through maintenance are important. You never know when a zombie apocalypse might start. There are thousands of airfields and airports all over this country with planes that could be available if the end of the world comes. Story 25. Playing guitar. I play music, but not well. Guitar has eluded me all my life despite my grandfather being a guitar maker and teacher. He taught me the basics. I just cannot get there. Story 26. Surgery. It would be fun. The hospital tells you that you need gallbladder surgery and it will cost $20,000. I could scoff at that and say, give me a sterile environment to do the surgery, and I will do it for a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. Story 27. To be able to look into the future, even for just a few minutes, but occasionally for a longer period. Story 28. Investing, becoming a trillionaire within a year. Be able to retire comfortably at age 34 with that one skill. Story 29. Singing. I have always wanted to sing amazingly, but I am not good at it. If I cannot choose that, then being able to draw the things I imagine exactly as I imagine them. Art is incredibly hard. Story 30. Tolerating a soul-killing job because of money. I know many people who do it and feel content and secure. I don't understand how they manage. Story 31. The ability to prevent bots from asking the same question multiple times a day on this subreddit. Story 32. The ability to learn anything instantly. Not just one skill, but the skill of mastering skills. Imagine learning languages like downloading files, picking up instruments like changing tabs, or adapting to new technology before it becomes mainstream. Story 33. I think having some sort of musical ability would be cool. I was told I would be really good at comedy or music. I am really good at coming up with funny things to say. I get people laughing all the time, but I do not have any creativity when it comes to writing music. Story 34. Medieval coin making. It is a special interest hobby of mine, and I always feel disappointed in the quality of my dies. Story 35. Calligraphy. I do paint by numbers for adults as a hobby. I have a smaller artist loft kit in mind for my next project and would like to make an inscription on it. Story 36. Unreal level 3-dimensional sculpting and animation. I have stories in my head, but turning them into something people feel is the bottleneck. Story 37. The ability to create any object that produces objects functioning as intended without restrictions or consequences. Story 38. Fiction writing. I already have plenty of ideas, but not enough skills to motivate myself to develop those stories. If I suddenly mastered that skill, I could finally get those ideas free from my head. Story 39. Speaking different languages really bothers me because I can only speak English fluently. Many countries focus on multiple languages, and I wish Canada were the same, especially given the importance we place on being a diverse country. Story 40. Kalimba. I have always wanted to learn to play an instrument. I want something that I can easily carry on hikes. Story 41. The art of not caring. Too many anecdotal stories are thrown in our face thanks to social media and 24-hour for-profit news. I don't need to feel less safe, especially with the lowest crime rate in history, just because I hear about every accident or shooting that occurred in a remote area or because a bus crashed somewhere. Non-stop bad news about everything, as if these events did not happen more frequently in the past. Story 42. Home improvement. My partner and I have a house that needs a lot of work, and it bothers me that the default is to get her sister's fiancé to help rather than me being able to do it without any issues. Story 43. The ability to let go of things in a way that demonstrates understanding that all things are temporary and to not be deeply affected by loss. Story 44. I am in my 30s and have my learner's permit, but I am still not able to drive comfortably on the road. I have many mental blocks around learning to drive. I have read that people with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, like me, are about 4 times more likely to get into an accident, and that thought is lodged in my head. I have overcome many "I can't do this" mental blocks in my life, but this one is still a struggle. Story 45. Learning new languages. It would be great to become multilingual instantly rather than being 1.5 languages proficient currently. Story 46. Moving things with my mind. I doubt it is actually real, but if I manage to master that skill and it is real, then it would be worth more than any regular skill. Story 47. Languages and musical instruments. Music theory is included because it is a language in itself. I want to be able to express the noises and tunes that find their way into my mind. Languages because I enjoy finding the similarities between them all. Story 48. Organization. I have a system that works for me, but it is still challenging. No matter how many organizing bins, shelves, folders, or other storage solutions I buy or structures I try to stick to, it always ends up a mess. Story 49. Until the episode in which he finished Mike, everything he had done before was for survival. He was forced to take those actions. Gustavo did not forgive him, so he killed him. Mike was trying to kill him and Jesse, so he took his only option and killed Gail. Crazy 8 and his cousin were trying to kill him, so he killed them. 2 salesmen on the street were going to kill Jesse, so Walter killed them to protect Jesse. However, when he killed Mike, there was no reason at all. He did it only as a precaution. This is not acceptable. He did not give Mike a chance. Story 50. Helicopter pilot. Of course, I would need the credentials to get a job as well, but helicopter pilots always seem very out of reach if you are born poor or not willing to join the military. Story 51. Playing soccer is something I love. I would like to become a professional player. If I were to master the sport, I would be one of the best, likely earning enough to retire for life in my 30s and be loved by fans. Story 52. Talking and conversation. This would help me in the long term with employment opportunities and building relationships. It would also help me identify and understand people's intentions clearly. Story 53. The ability to be more sociable is important to me. Every time I go out or find myself alone, I start to see blurry and shake. I do not know why this happens to me, but it is horrible because I want to go out, have more friends, and have a job. However, being like this prevents me a lot. Story 54. Be a polyglot. Imagine how easy traveling would be if you could understand the native language. It is like alchemy. Story 55. Giving excellent and useful advice that reaches people. Many could use a bit of guidance but never receive it. Story 56. 3D modeling and animation. If I can only pick one animation, Sketchfab and commissions can only get you so far, but it would do. Story 57. If mastering skills were locked, I would choose the art of understanding people, things, how anything works, why it works, and why people act as they do. Story 58. Piano. I already play, but the impressive skills I could have if I suddenly reached concert pianist level would be amazing. Story 59. Remembering things, my memory is very selective. For example, I might not remember your name even if you said it 5 minutes ago, but I will remember a completely random fun fact I learned 5 years ago. In short, being someone with autism spectrum disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is very challenging. Story 60. Polyglot. Becoming fluent in every language. I would totally travel to other countries and surprise people by fluently speaking their language. I bet you would hear loads of interesting things people say, thinking you do not understand. Story 61. To be able to draw anything and everything I have ever wanted because I have enjoyed drawing since I was a child. Improving is a long road. For the right kind of art, there is money to be made too. Story 62. Some type of instrument. I have tried many times, but there is no instrument in any category that I am good at. Not wind instruments, not brass instruments, not percussion, nor string instruments. Story 63. All types of memorization, such as taking a glance and remembering it well, are essential requisites for learning any skill. Story 64. Absolutely yes. Proper camps on the banks of the Thames, with Union Jack bunting, Laura Ashley tablecloths, Chesterfield sofas, and gin cellars, but where the inmates are made to drink endless cups of tea and watch Downton Abbey and Wuthering Heights by night. They are subjected to weeks of William Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, the Bronte sisters, Jane Austen, George Orwell, and J.K. Rowling on weekdays. At weekends, it will be punting in Oxford, cream teas at Henley, Ascot, or Wimbledon, washed down with lashings of ginger beer, followed by an education in Seville Row tailors and Harley Street doctors. All, of course, to a soundtrack by Edward Elgar, preferably Pomp and Circumstance or Nimrod. After that, a basic education in the merits of a good forward defensive stroke in cricket, the fundamentals of dressing for the season, and how to stomp the divots at the Cartier Polo. Finally, an understanding that ma'am rhymes with jam and ham, not harm. After that, you get attached to the T alarm system, issued an umbrella, given a triple-barreled surname and a thatched cottage with a Labrador, and you're good to go. Story 65. Polyglot. There is a richness of different languages in the world with words or phrases that sometimes have no translation. I would love to understand them. Story 66. Communication skills. I fully believe the ability to communicate effectively can completely change one's access to opportunities, relationships, and personal impact in the world. It also saves much time and grief in nearly every aspect of life. Story 67. Learning any language or sewing clothing and plushies is beneficial. One helps with traveling, while the other improves one of my favorite hobbies. Story 68. Ability to comprehend anything quickly. I would master fast reading comprehension. I would never have to practice or study, and I would easily read university-level books to learn new skills and gain knowledge without having to take notes or review them again. Story 69. I used to want to be able to sing or dance, but I do not think I care anymore. Can I just be better at life skills? Story 70. If I were still physically capable, I would practice every combat and shooting skill. However, since that is not achievable, the most likely thing I would like to do is learn more languages beyond the 3 I speak and the 2 I vaguely understand. Story 71. To speak Arabic is just too difficult and demands a lot of dedication, which is something I unfortunately do not have due to attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. However, considering how Saudi Arabia invests in technology and the surplus money in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Kuwait, knowing Arabic is definitely an important skill to have. Story 72. Being a polyglot demonstrates that there is at least one American who speaks more than just English. Story 73. Drawing. I have wanted to draw my whole life, but now the mantra, do it right the first time, has been hammered into me so much that I cannot stand trying because I hate what I draw. Story 74. I used to want to learn Spanish, but I did that on my own. Now, I am focused on mastering the skill of motherhood. Story 75. Language learning is easy. Being able to master any language I want would increase my marketability and my market value as well. Story 76. Sales, probably. Unlimited money, unlimited resources. Communication goes much further than most people think, and in the end, it is all sales. Story 77. Skateboarding. I would love to be one of those experienced skaters at the skate park, still having fun and teaching younger skaters. Story 78. Emotional regulation. Imagine having the power to stay calm, focused, and kind no matter what life throws at you. That is essentially a superpower. Story 79. The ability to fully communicate with the people in the Czech language without having to think about it and needing clearly spoken words would be amazing. Story 80. Driving everywhere effortlessly and without feeling anxious is the one essential skill I wish I were better at, but my anxiety is overwhelming. Story 81. Lockpicking. Do you know how much people can charge to unlock your house door if you left the key inside? It is a form of stealing, but a different, legal type of theft. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.